Remielle, Pyrois, and old agents updated changes. A new batch of unlock potential adjustments has arrived in the latest zenless Zone 0 beta, bringing a mixture of buffs, nerfs, reworks, and quality of life improvements to several characters. While some agents received relatively minor tuning, others underwent much more significant changes that could have a major impact on their performance and playstyle moving forward. This latest update primarily focuses on 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀, rina, nekomata, and Pyrois. Some of these changes are straightforward numerical adjustments, while others fundamentally alter how certain characters are played. Among all the updates, nekomata appears to be the biggest winner by far, receiving a complete overhaul that significantly modernizes her gameplay and gives her access to much stronger damage windows. Let's start with 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀's unlock potential originally introduced a brand new Yex special attack that immediately caught the attention of many players due to its incredibly high damage and days values. However, the newest update has significantly toned down its performance. By the way, yixuan just dropped special discount for monochrome. All you need is your UID and server for an instant top-up. If you're looking for fast and reliable top-ups, yixuan is the way to go. Their prices are even lower than buying directly in-game, and the final discounted price will be shown at checkout after clicking top up now. Plus, they have great reviews on Trustpilot, so you know you're buying from a trusted platform. Click the link in the description and pinned comment, and use code MrZ for 5% discount. The multiplier value of 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀's new Yex special has been reduced from 1655.9% to 1190.2%. while its days value has been lowered from 863.5% to 731.4%. Although the skill remains powerful and still provides a valuable addition to her overall kit, the reduction is substantial. Losing over 450% multiplier value and more than 130% days means the attack will no longer contribute the same level of burst damage or stun potential that players initially expected. This change likely reflects the developers' concerns regarding how much value the new Yex special was adding to 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝗀's overall damage profile. Prior to this adjustment, many players viewed the ability as one of the strongest aspects of her unlock potential upgrade. Even after the nerf, however, 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀 still retains all of the quality of life improvements introduced through unlock potential. Her improved combat flow, stronger passion state interactions, and additional anomaly support remain intact. The new Yex special simply appears to be more balanced relative to the rest of her kit. Moving on to Rina, her changes are a bit more complicated. Unlike 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝗀, Rina did not receive a direct damage nerf. Instead, her adjustments focus on the balance between support uptime and stat conversion efficiency. The first improvement is straightforward. The duration of her off-field attack buff has been increased from 8 seconds to 13 seconds. This is actually a significant quality of life improvement for players using Rina as a support. Longer buff duration means less pressure to constantly refresh her effects, resulting in smoother rotations and more reliable team support throughout longer encounters. However, the second half of the update introduces some notable nerfs. Rina now gains 1.6% additional penetration ratio, but the conversion values tied to her unlock potential passive have been dramatically reduced. Previously, each point of penetration ratio contributed a much larger amount of attack and defense to the team. The conversion from penetration ratio to team attack has been reduced from 78 to 7.8, while the conversion to team defense has been reduced from 65 to 6.5. At first glance, these numbers may seem shocking because of how large the reductions appear. However, it is likely that the developers have adjusted the formula itself, rather than simply gutting the effect entirely. Until more testing is completed, it remains difficult to determine exactly how large the overall impact will be. What is clear is that Rina's support profile is shifting. Rather than focusing on extremely powerful stat conversion effects, the developers appear to be emphasizing longer buff uptime and more consistent support contributions. As a result, Rina may end up feeling smoother to play while providing less explosive team-wide stat amplification than originally planned. The biggest changes in this update belong to nekomata. Among all the characters receiving unlock potential upgrades, nekomata's adjustments are easily the most transformative. Her entire gameplay loop has been expanded, giving her new resource generation tools, a powerful new attack, easier access to key mechanics, and dramatically improved consistency. The first change involves Vanishing Tail technique. The per energy requirement has been reduced from 40 to 30, making the skill much easier to access during combat. However, the activation requirement has also changed. The ability can now only be triggered through a perfect dodge and no longer restores 10 per energy after use. While losing the energy refund is a downside, the lower activation cost helps offset the change and makes the mechanic easier to fit into her overall rotation. The real highlight of the update is the introduction of a completely new dodge counter called 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝘲𝘀𝘀. This attack can be activated by pressing basic attack after vanishing tail technique or by holding basic attack while possessing at least 40 per energy. 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 deals physical damage with an enormous 2,560.3% multiplier value and 265.9% days. Those numbers alone already make it one of the strongest additions included in the current unlock potential system, but the attack's secondary effects are arguably even more important. After using 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, all of Nekoma's attacks are treated as attacks from behind for 40 seconds. This completely changes how she functions. Historically, Nekoma's damage potential often depended on positioning and maintaining access to back attacks. While experienced players could consistently achieve this, it sometimes became awkward against highly mobile enemies or difficult boss encounters. Now, after activating 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, Nekomata essentially gains permanent access to her back attack bonuses for an extended period without needing to constantly reposition herself behind targets. On top of that, all of her attacks gain a 30% multiplier increase during this state. This alone would already be a major buff, but her unlock potential adds even more. After using 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀, Nekomata gains 60% crit damage for 40 seconds. Combining permanent back attack access, increased attack multipliers, and a massive crit damage buff creates an extremely powerful damage window that dramatically increases her offensive potential. Her resource generation has also been modernized. Nekomata now gains 40 per energy immediately when entering battle. She also gains 1 per energy every second during combat, 20 per energy whenever she uses her ultimate, and 10 per energy whenever she performs a chain attack. These changes significantly improve her consistency and make it much easier to access her strongest abilities throughout a fight. Additionally, her additional ability condition has been expanded so that support characters now count as valid teammates for activation requirements. This seemingly small adjustment opens up more team building options and makes Nekomata easier to slot into a wider variety of compositions. Overall, her entire kit feels substantially more modern, flexible, and rewarding than before. Finally, let's talk about Pyrois. Compared to the extensive changes received by Jane Doe, Rina, and Nekomata, Pyrois only received a relatively small adjustment. However, it is still a meaningful improvement. His Mindscape 4 now gains additional functionality tied to specific enemy conditions. When Ultimate 3 hits an enemy affected by Windswept, its damage multiplier is increased, giving Pyrois another incentive to play alongside characters capable of applying the effect consistently. Additionally, when Enhanced Basic Attack 4 hits a contaminated enemy, Pyrois restores decibels. This interaction is particularly interesting because contamination can currently be applied by Remielle, creating potential future synergy between the two characters. The decibel restoration may not sound massive on paper, but it helps improve ultimate generation and creates smoother combat rotations over extended encounters. As a result, Pyrois players may be able to access ultimates more frequently while maintaining better overall combat flow. Looking at the entire update as a whole, the biggest winner is undoubtedly Nekomata. Overall, this latest unlock potential update shows that the developers are still actively refining older characters while attempting to modernize their gameplay. While some adjustments are clearly stronger than others, it is encouraging to see previously overlooked characters receiving meaningful improvements that could help them remain competitive as zenless Zone 0 continues moving deeper into Season 3. So, what do you think about these changes?